Thank you for taking the time to click on L.O.R.E. Please subscribe here and don't forget to follow us on twitch.tv/LoreLivePlay.
Province of Talantis, a lush landscape almost untouched by civilization. A prime example of nature thriving, domineering the slow-growing settlements on its fringes.
It is here that something new has begun to take shape. Creatures not native, nor natural by evolutionary means have made themselves known to curious outward eyes.
Curiosity, however, should be shared with a side of caution. These creatures show much aggression, are exceedingly territorial, and have presented themselves as a problem for many. But maybe not for a few whose paths have yet to be determined.
Whether or not these individuals walk the paths that will be presented to them,
Events will unfold as they will.
No one is ever appropriately called to action
but these few,
Will have a hand
in uncovering
the guise of these new untamed beasts.
Hey! What's up?
Greetings! Welcome to L.O.R.E and tonight's session of the Guise of Untamed Beasts. I am your Dungeon Master, Mathew Garro, and with me are my players for this adventure. Before I get to that, I want to make a note of something that I've caught myself on. On our side, we're using Zoom. It's just like, we're all in like a checkered box of like 6, and I always say like below me, to the right of me. But now that I'm looking on the, like, from previous episodes that we posted, I realized, oh yeah, I'm in the top corner and everyone is below me.
Mm-hmm.
So
We're down
I
here,
am the DM,
Matt!
and everyone's below me.
Yes.
I wasn't gonna call you on it.
Yeah, you're so.
I caught
high
myself
above us.
on it, 6 episodes later, but let's start from that. So I think below me is DG.
That's
Yes, hello, hi, I'm DG. I play Azazel. He's a hobgoblin. He's a wizard. He's pretty cool.
DG Holstein, that was impressive. Way to improv that right on the fly.
Thank you. I'm a master of my craft.
Nice. Thank you for the follow.
Next up we have Sarah.
Oh, hi, it's me, Sarah, aka Orin, aka Lizard Wolverine Beast. I'm a lizard, and I'm a beastie boy. But not the beastie
my
boy.
favorite
You
thing.
gotta fight for your
your
rights.
For fish.
Yeah, we go on. Next to Sarah we have Chris.
Oh god, I wasn't ready. Hi, I'm Chris Ferguson. I'm in the middle, yay! I will be playing Trovik, the miniature barbarian that thinks he's an orc. Right?
Yeah.
We'll have to find out.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we are missing one of our players this week. Kayla Pitts, who plays our illustrious warlock Zilri. But maybe you'll be able to catch her next time. But for now, we will move on to her seat. Mr. Ryan.
Hello, I am Ryan, and I am playing Zorro, the Tree Speaker. That's it.
Yay, everybody did so good. That was really good. That was impressive.
Good answer.
Good answer.
My name is Ryan. I speak Groot.
Basically. That's it.
Now that we got that out of the way, let's start with the plugs.
The plugs.
Before we begin, I'd like to talk about Extra Life. It's a program for local Children's Miracle Network hospitals to raise money through Twitch and the gaming community. Why am I talking like this? I don't know, because I
No,
feel
we
like
like it. We like
It's
it.
fun.
You like it? All right.
We like it.
We have linked up with Penn State's Children's Hospital with a goal of raising $500 in donations this year. How do we do that? Through natural ones. For every natural one rolled, you will hear this sound. Chris is going to play something ridiculous, bet you. Bruh. Hello there, fine lady.
Hey,
There it is. There it is.
It's all there.
At this point, we'll let you know when if you don't see it on the screen, then we'll let you know when it happens. Yeah.
We'll let you know, guys.
We'll let you know at this point with so many sound effects. And so, you can donate $1 to match at the end of the session. We tally them all up. Anyone can donate the total ones we rolled or more if you are feeling generous. Simply follow the link below in our About section and click the Donate button to help. All donations go directly to Penn State Children's Hospital. Moving on over, let's talk about our informal sponsor, Foundry. Foundry is a virtual tabletop application built for experiencing multiplayer tabletop RPGs. Whoa! The Game Master or GM uses a feature-rich and modern self-hosted application where their players connect directly through their web browser. It provides a powerful framework designed to be customizable and developer-friendly, utilizing powerful tools to help tell immersive stories and create memorable moments for the group. Yay!
Yay! I'm excited now.
Everybody.
The guy who runs the carnival.
Oh no, that's
Step right up.
Ooh.
To date, it contains support for over 150 different game systems, such as Dungeons & Dragons, Pathfinder, Warhammer, and Vampire the Masquerade, to name a few, and over 1,000 custom add-on modules, each one created using the ideal systems and add-ons provided to bring a unique gaming experience for each group, none like any other. That wasn't as good.
That was better.
The developers also have an interactive community on their Discord server where they will answer your technical questions, provide release updates for system packages and upcoming community content. Best of all, this can all be acquired with a one-time purchase without subscriptions or feature gating. If this sounds like a product that can greatly enhance gameplay for you and your gaming table, then go check out their website at www.foundryvtt.com for all their details. And if you want to see Foundry in action, you can check it out here tonight during tonight's session, or on A New Horizon, hosted on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you want to join in on the lore, then you can link up with us on any of our social media platforms through Linktree. That's linktr.ee/lore-live-play. Lastly, Chris has some merchandise and other stuff he wants to throw at you, because why not?
Whoa! Bumper stickers throwing at you! There! And buttons, merch swag! Whoa! There, throwing it at you! Hey, if you want to purchase this super swagadelic stuff here, look at that. It can fit on your forehead, you can put it on your belly, you can put it on your Mathew Garro pillow. I didn't say it. And don't forget the buttons. You can poke people with it. But don't do that, okay? Don't try it at home, kids.
That's hurtful.
But yeah.
And, we promise to send you merchandise that hasn't been tossed around and violated in some weird way.
Unless you want these.
Let's not go there.
No.
Yeah. And then we're going to be trying something new, fam. So tonight, we're going to try this little thing where if you would like to influence the game in a very, very, very small way, you can tip, just the tip, down below. There's a section that says tip, and if you click it, it will go to our little page. You can donate what you want, and I'm going to load it up here for those people in the chat. Why am I talking like this?
Getting into character.
Boom, baby! $2 gives a player of your choice inspiration or a reroll. And why I say reroll? Because sometimes we don't play D&D, so that's just the gig. $5 drops a random NPC in the session that probably won't influence the game much, but hey, it's there, and you made it happen. And then the big whopping $10 makes us holla. Give all players inspiration, depending on if the DM feels it fits, because they don't stack, baby, they don't stack. It also drops a random NPC, but this time, you folks at home make the name for the NPC, so that you can name him.
I feel like I'm a little unprepared for the rest of that, but sure.
We're rolling with it for now. This is our first little trial period. Matt's gonna leave.
Everything will crash and burn.
Rocks fall, everyone dies. So that's it, folks.
And without further ado, with all the plugging, BS, and other stuff that we wanted to just kind of throw at you, let's begin. We'll recap the last session. After taking on a job to clear out the storehouse and eviscerating the crustaceous abominations found, the group began to investigate for further clues. Zorro found merely a dismembered arm and no body to speak of, but decided maybe we should go bury this outside on the shoreline, just for peace sake. Zazel took note of a small opening found just nearby where the arm and series of blood splatters were found, attempting to find a way to squeeze through it. A hole in the wall. Always fun with a hole in the wall.
Orn?
However, Orn took the opportunity to carve out the opening to create it in greater in size in order for them to see if this passage led anywhere. Meanwhile, Zilri was pilfering some of the unique vintages of wine in the boxes scattered throughout the storehouse, and then took time to attempt to comfort Trovik, whom had endured a bit of a traumatic experience with his new latent magical abilities springing out of him like, darkness tendrils. Gotta love those. Awaiting the expansion of the crevice, Azazel cast his detect magic spell and noted that the two creatures had a necromantic aura to them, with trace elements of the clone spell specifically, and finding two magical items of sorts, a tankard and a jug, which we will discover maybe at a later date. I don't know, it's up to them. But upon delving into the passageway, Trovik decided he wanted to take a crack at it and widening it further, but unbeknownst to him, he released his newfound magic, which created an entanglement of plants around him and the opening in itself, causing a blockade and a bit of panic, to which he resulted in blaming Zorro for playing a prank on him. But within the passageway, after it dissipated, there laid it on the ground an eviscerated body of a goblin, to which most have noted that it is a rare sight to find in these parts of the countryside. Deciding best to finally leave the storehouse and not bother with telling Ty that the job was completed, Trovik and Zorro had a bit of a discussion. It's a little bit about becoming more than just a mere savage beast that he portrayed himself, while burying the remains of the rest of that goblin. Heading back into town, they noticed a few of the lizard folk leaving with crates of sea creatures, and upon confronting them, they spoke of a deal made with merchants in the northern village Boamar, whom requested they bring fish and offering coin in exchange. Kind of following up on that note, they went to go see Ish, the renowned, we'll call them like the head lizard folk of Semyaza, who was a little bit more attuned with the locals. To which they explained they took on the job to collect money in hopes that later they could venture out into the wilds with the coin to give them supplies, food, weapons, and water in order to find the rest of their brethren whom had been evicted by the Goliaths many, many, many years ago. But as for the strange creatures rumored, it was suggested going to visit Boamar and asking them themselves whether or not there was some sort of influence. But upon gathering up some last-minute supplies and almost forgetting Doxia, but then going to go get her, the group ventured north without notifying Ty of the completed job, and then they rested for the night, having little bits of conversation and banter here and there, getting to know themselves a little bit more. And we find ourselves in the midst of this long rest, where Azazel and Trovik just finished and completed their first watch. So I'd like to ask, whom among you would like to take the second watch?
Oh, that's right. Sleeping.
All right. Zorro, you'll take it on your own?
Sure.
Okay.
Nothing else. Understood.
Gotta rest.
Like, I'll take it by myself.
Well, Zilri is kind of like sitting up against a tree, maybe about 15, 20 feet away from where the rest of you are kind of lying about, situated, whether you have bedrolls or otherwise. And Orn is also lying almost in her lap, head down in her lap. But Zorro, make a perception check for me.
That's bad.
Roll of bad out of 10.
9.
Bad out of
A
10.
9?
9.
Do you see anything? 9.
It's fairly dark, aside from like the fleeting fire that Trovik and Doxia had started earlier, that's slowly diminishing as the hours go on through the night. It's quiet, aside from the subtle breathing of your companions at your feet. You hear some rustling in the wood, in the grassy meadows, that kind of outlier the surrounding area. It's calm and quiet for a while. But then you hear like some sniffing noises, and they seem a little bit closer than you first anticipated, one being attuned to nature as one is. And you kind of catch a little bit off to your right, you hear like some, and you hear like little pitter patters of footfalls. You look into the darkness. It's a little bit difficult. You just wait. You see what looks like two canine-looking creatures, kind of just, they're maybe about 20 feet out. They're not getting close, but they're just on the outskirts, kind of like sniffing about in your general direction. They seem smaller than wolves. Maybe dogs.
And just, maintain a sort of calm demeanor. I'm sitting cross-legged and just watching. And, trying to exude like an open sort of aura. It's just, just like a, we're here and you're here too, and, we are not going to be in your way. So, and I can also like, I would, do a ritual before I did my watch to cast Speak with Animals. So if they have anything to say, I can hear them.
They don't seem to say or anything, at least in whatever animal sounds that they convey. They're not even barking, growling, hissing, or otherwise making any noise other than they've made their presence known. They're sniffing about and they're kind of just looking in at the campsite's general direction. One of them kind of starts walking a little bit off around, not so much to, let's say, corner anybody, but just takes a few steps away from its partner. Sniffs the air, looks back at the other one. You hear like a soft little, and it sounds more of like, let's go. We don't need to be here. And the two of them kind of start walking away, skitter off into the night.
Yes. It is a lovely night for an evening stroll.
Other than that, your night goes undisturbed. If there's anything you want to say or do, you're more than welcome to.
The only thing that I would do on my own would just be to meditate of sorts, feel the ground beneath me and smell the air around me and listen to the sounds of the forest. think about the forms that the forest takes, the animals, the trees, and the grass. Think about what that means for our mission here, and how best I can bring balance to both. This sort of, saying these things, but these are like my inner monologue. It's like this group, they will learn balance before the end. Do not know where this road leads, but knowing how things work is not really part of the path. The wizard. He is a young one. But
Inside burn.
he will find his place. He will find his voice, and he knows more than he lets on. Oh, what an odd group, but a good one. Hopefully I can help them. I will do my best. That's up.
Though it's a calm, somewhat warm night, you feel it like a subtle breeze kind of just come in and shakes up the grass a little bit. And it's just ever so slightly cooling on your skin. Though the cool air doesn't bother you through your natural abilities, but it's just nice to have that composition, contrast of warm to cool, and then the breeze dies away. I will say for this, this will probably cover most of the night, unless anybody else would like to have a third watch.
What about a third watch?
It doesn't have to. We can just say, we could say that because kind of like you do it in longer chunks. That way everybody does still get the benefits of a long rest. So we could do two if you guys are comfortable with that. All right. So eventually, Zorol, you slept through most of the night during Azazel and Trovik's first watch, and you stay up until the crack of dawn and a few hours after that, till finally the rest of the group stirs awake, and you all may take a long rest.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about.
Where did that one come from?
Somewhere.
I love it. That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. Trying to work on my Kiwi accent.
Nice. Take long rest. Confirm in 3, 2, 1, go.
Like extra hit points. I forgot why. Did you give me extra hit points?
I believe you had temporary hit points because of your Hungry Jaws feature the last time you used it.
Oh, okay.
But if you take a long rest, it should reset everything for you.
Pew, 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 pew.
I tried. Wait, let me see. Yes, son.
Gotta get
With
that
that-
green on.
Or you feel Zilri kind of like coming to... and she kind of like starts to like scritch you a little bit, also trying to get you off so she can get up. Doxia kind of stirs awake as well. Morning. She does like that whole cat like stretch, like, and then gets to her feet. So what's for breakfast before we go? I'm good with that. So I think, Orin, you have like 2 fish left from the 3 fish that you brought with you.
Oh, that's right. Well, no, it's 2.5.
2.5.
And then
Okay.
they eat the other half that Trovic bit.
Perhaps, Orn, you could show Trovic how to fish if nearby water.
Are we even nearby any water right now, or is it just sort of we just in the grass?
You're kind of just in the grass on the side of the plated roadway. So like you started heading north. If you cut across and head west a little bit, you would come across the edges of the Riptide Bay. It'd kind of be like a bit of a detour.
Yeah.
But it's up to you.
Yeah, I don't know if we really want to go through all the process of finding fish and then cooking the fish. We could just sort of, I mean, we have some rations. We could do a little scavenging in the area. Does anyone know how to cook?
I look.
That's just
Trovic looks at Doxia.
I think I can. And she thinks it's like I'd have to get the fire started again. She finds like a rock. She looks around. Somebody got a sword? Oh wait, my dagger. She pulls out the dagger. Then she starts sparking.
Oh no, the dogs have come back!
The dogs have come back.
Use if she doesn't get it going after like a minute, I'll just use Druidcraft to like start a little flame.
Well, the thing is, there's no kindle left. It's just ash. So she's trying to start a fire over the ash.
Well, no, you need wood for the fire. Here, come. I will find what the land can provide. And I will show you what we can eat as well.
All right.
So just sort of like go off and find like some more like downed, some like down branches, kindling, whatever. But also look if there's any like, berries, mushrooms, wildflowers that are edible, because there are plenty of those.
I would say if wildflowers would be an easy pick. Not as much kindling as last night, but you do find some. I would say, make a survival check for me, and we'll see how well you find other forage.
Okay.
You're like, shit.
While they're off doing that, I will probably just like sit on a log or a rock or whatever and take out my short sword and my whetstone and just sharpen my blade in the morning. General upkeep.
Okay.
I got a 14.
14. You find maybe one bush specifically out in the middle of the field that has twindleberries. These little reddish berries that are sweet when they're ripe, but when they're in their darker, almost like when they look like they're black in color, they're still edible, but they have a bit of more of a bitter or sour taste to them. But they're not poisonous, and most people tend to use them for wines or desserts. You're able to kind of pick, say, like a basket full in comparison. And you do find a bit of like an outcropping of a rock. You kind of pull it up underside, and there are like a handful of little insects that skitter away, but you do see like 1 or 2 like smaller mushrooms. Maybe you could like cut up. In terms of like other foraging, I think the berries would probably be the most exotic here. But there are a lot of other flowers and roots that you easily come across that you pick.
All right, so I get some my bushel of berries, my couple of mushrooms, and other things, and head back to where we're going. And I don't know if we did Duxia come with me to find kindling or?
Yes, so she's helping you, kind of like, ooh. All right. She's holding some of the twigs. She eats. Can I eat these? And she's holding the berry. Can I eat this?
Yeah. Yes, it is. It is good. It'll be sweet for you.
Oh, it's really sweet. Ooh.
Yes.
And then she just thinks for a moment. Reminds me of the juice I had the other night, but just not as strong.
It's possible. Some people within the walls like to take these and let them ferment to drink later. But you can just eat them.
She pops
and
another
you
one in
will
her
not,
mouth.
Yes, you will not be sick like you were. Yes, they should fill your belly nice. Here,
They are pretty tasty.
and I will actually hand her something that is almost like a daffodil. And be like, here, you can also eat this. I understand that you look like, it looks like a flower because it is a flower, but you can also eat it. It's, it's not sweet. It's got an earthy taste to it, but it's nourishing. And I say that, and I put one of those flowers in my mouth too.
She eats it. She doesn't look as
Gross.
excited as she did with the twindleberries, but she's like, it's a little more grassy than anything, but if you say so. I do kind of like the berry. She grabs another berry and eats that.
Oh, careful. These are meant for everybody.
Right. So, Trovik, is there anything specific that you want to do while the others kind of went out foraging? L.O.R.E is currently just kind of she seems to be twiddling a pendant a few feet away, and she's looking in that velvety black book of hers. She's kind of just looking through some of the pages, just kind of pondering.
I'll leave the L.O.R.E to her pondering and watch as Orn and Doxia and Zoril go off. Make sure that Little Flower is okay. And then sit with Azazel and also sharpen axe, but make very proud display of how much bigger axe is and how much. Oh my gosh, it takes so much more energy to. Oh look, I have to stretch my arms to really sharpen this. Oh, and he's saying it out loud, oh you got so much work to do.
Yeah, well, that's really impressive. What grade of whetstone do you use? Is it a bit of a medium grit, or do you go a little finer grit for travel on the go?
This is free.
Zilri overhearing it just starts laughing, but doesn't say anything.
That's very impressive.
My very red, tough fur keeps it in perfect shape to keep axe in perfect shape as well.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
Do you do dancing when not fighting?
I mean, I can't do it. It's not quite as good, but yeah, I mean, I can dance. I was taught, but it's not really something I actively try to do.
Maybe you can teach Little Flower how to dance happy. I mean, I don't want. Trovik don't want. Let's be real. Trovik don't want Doxia to be dancing while fighting bad guys, but maybe for Little Flower to enjoy in time of music.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, I mean, the dance that I do when I'm fighting is a different sort of dance than just a regular ballroom dance. It's a completely different thing. the dance that I do when I'm fighting is actually like it's a magical sort of dance. But yeah, I know ballroom dancing pretty well. I grew up doing that, so I could easily teach her some of that stuff. It wouldn't be a problem.
You say a ballroom.
Mhm.
Is this like where people go to dance inside of ball? Is giant ball in
No, so
Gorin?
like a ball is in that context is sort of like a gala. It's a big fancy party where a bunch of people wearing the nicest clothes go and talk about nonsense for 3 hours, and they eat tiny food, and they have drinks, and they dance.
They dance. And
The-
they dance. Everyone safety dance.
They do the safety dance.
Everyone, look at your hands.
And you know, when you're there, they have drinks and they have the hors d'oeuvres, and when the music starts, you know, you can dance if you want to. You could leave your friends behind, but if your friends don't dance, and if they don't dance, well, there's no friends of mine. I don't really want to meet them. I don't care to.
Had to happen. Had to.
I mean, it makes sense when you're talking about it off screen. It had to show up on screen.
That deserves
Maybe
that.
the behind the scenes.
Oh my gosh, if that ever deserved inspiration. Holy shit. Come
Too
on,
bad,
chat.
Have it.
Donate. Tip. Oh. Okay, so if Trovik get this straight, people do not go in big ball, but in gala, whatever gala is, then do dance, but if not dance, then not friend with Zizel.
Yeah, just because people that don't dance are kind of boring, you know? And I mean, there's places where dancing isn't really acceptable, you know? Listen, I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't think Zoril really cares much for dancing, but I feel like that's a completely different reason. You know, people that don't dance when they're at a party, they just feel sort of like they think they're better than everyone. With Zoril, I feel like it's just on a completely different planet than him. He's sort of got his own. He's a man with a mission, and that mission doesn't involve dancing. You know what I mean?
Trovik have yet to see Zoril smile. Heard him laugh once. Made Trovik laugh. Billy. Big time.
I've
This is
seen
good.
Zoril smile on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Why were you inside Zorro?
So, this magic that you speak, that is inside Trovik tummy, you help Trovik understand, because
I can-
Trovik no understand, don't believe in magic.
I can do whatever I can to help you understand your tummy magic, Trovik.
Trovik is last person on planet to do magic. Let me tell you, if there is any dancing and magic from Trovik, it is with X.
You do magic on the battlefield, that's true, but yeah, no, it's. I
Yes.
understand that it can feel very weird and out of nowhere, but I will try and help you understand the unknown magic that's in your tum-tum.
Yes, this very weird feeling in Trovik tummy. I'll go back to sharpening the other side of my great axe. My great axe.
Great.
It's great.
It's great.
It's okay.
Fuck you.
It's an okay.
It's alright.
The rest of them do eventually show up after that conversation, return with kindling and some foraged food.
So just go around and go up to Zazel first and just like put some berries and a couple of the mushrooms in his hands, and it's just like, you can eat this. It's good. These berries are sweet. The mushrooms savory, and There's this, and I'll hold out like a daylily to him, just like right up to his mouth, and be like, "The flower is good for you too."
Give to Little Flower?
I already had one. It's a
I-
bit
I'll have
grassy,
it after
but
the sweets. I'll have it after the sweets. It's good roughage. But Zoral, do you dance? Is that a thing that you do?
Yes, I mean, dancing is a custom in my, in my tribe.
Oh,
Yeah.
you
So-
didn't seem like much for distractions, and I thought dancing would be like sort of a distraction.
Oh no, everything has purpose. I mean, we dance for all sorts of reasons, but I mean, I wouldn't do it here mostly because there's no music, and secondly because we are doing something. So I guess you could say in this particular moment it would be a bit of a distraction, but I mean, yes.
Dance?
Dance? Do you dance, or?
What is dance?
Well, I will leave this one up to the wizard. He seems to know what he's talking about.
Wizard of dance?
Yes, Lord.
Yes, he is a wizard of dancing,
he
yes.
technically is.
You must.
I mean, sort of.
Zoro, listen, everybody, okay? This is very important. The Zazel teach me a quick lesson. All of us must learn to dance, otherwise we cannot be friends with the Zazel.
That's a little interesting. Oh, I
That's
mean,
that's not quite what I was saying. I was just saying, I don't know what your guys' experiences are with dancing, but when you grow up around like fancy parties and everyone's dancing, everyone's having a good time, and then there's like 3 people who are like off in the corner making fun of the people that are dancing, and it's like you're not even enjoying the party, you're just kind of being an ass, and that's not fun, and they're not my friends. But you can't just dance your way through everything, as much fun as that would be. So Orin, to explain, dance is sort of like a rhythmic movement of the body, right, in a way that matches with music. There's lots of different ways. It's different in many different cultures. I was learned to ballroom dance, which is very stuffy and uppity, to fancier music, and then I also have the dance that I do when we're fighting. It's a little bit different, and I'm sure Zoral's people do slightly different dances than that. I'd very much love to see that, by the way. You're a wise man. And that's sort of at least what the general sense of dancing is. Zilri, do you dance? Is that?
she kind of like looks up from her book. I mean, if I have to, but I usually don't have to.
Yeah, understandable. So yeah, that's it's basics of dance. You can all still be my friends, whether or not you know how to dance, because you're all good people.
Doxia starts kind of like swaying in the spot. How's this? Am I dancing well? Am I good?
It is best dance.
Are we friends?
Doxia doing it, and Orin starts doing this.
Oh, this is good.
That reminds me, after I finish my breakfast, we're gonna have sword lesson 1.
Oh.
She immediately stops and just like she pulls out her dagger. It's like, are we done breakfast now?
I'm not done with breakfast now, and you're not either. You need to eat. You need to eat all your food. You can't fight good unless you have a full stomach.
And she pops a couple more twindleberries in her mouth.
Orin had also harvested with the group. I was hoping that I could do a nature check instead of the survival, because I had a +3 for it. Is this
Sure, why
Okay,
not?
Well, I had rolled a nat 1. I did it for the team.
Hello there, fine lady. So we're going with that one tonight, eh?
Yeah.
Hey, that Garro.
Oh, god damn it. Nat 1, people. That's $1 towards Penn State. Penn State. Whatever.
Penn State Children's Hospital. You
There
were
it
halfway
is.
there, man.
I was halfway there. I'm just so distracted by like, god damn it.
By the
Just so
goddamn.
distracted by my own voice.
Yes, distracted by my
Be
own
like that
voice.
sometimes.
Yeah.
But
So,
unfortunately, while Zoril and Doxia were kind of like foraging around, and Zoril was kind of pointing out specific things, you were taking the cue to look in certain areas, and you ended up digging up like an anthole. You ended up going towards a tree and breaking off some of the branches as extra kindling. Zoril kind of gave you this look of like a disapproving look, to which you go over and just you find a rock, kick it over. There's nothing there, so you just shrug.
Just kicking rocks. Nice.
But you all
then
continue
I just,
to.
dump that all on the campsite. Here's a pile of fire ants and a rock.
Got a rock.
Here's a rock
Great
and some
find.
broken wood, broken tree branches. Zilri comes over, starts eating some of the twindleberries. And while she does so, she pulls out one of the bottles of wine and just uncorks it, takes a swig. Does anybody want some?
I don't. Trovik no have cup, but yes, please.
She hands you.
I mean, yeah,
Here you go,
if
big
you're
guy.
offering.
There's plenty more that I was able to take for us. Or at least me. She kind of like jiggles the bag and you hear like the clanking of like several bottles. Morning wine.
Yeah, those crabs, they really destroyed so much merchandise. It was a shame.
It was a shame.
In Trovik land, we call it pillaging, and this is okay.
I
You
mean,
don't have to hide or blame on crabs.
I'm not hiding anything. We were permitted to take 1 or 2 bottles.
Trovik can't count, so Trovik no care what you took.
She kind of winks and
While this is happening, I suppose I could get like a small fire going. If anyone has like something like a pot, I could get some like, dried rashes, some like dried oats and stuff, and like make a bit of like a porridge.
I kind of do, but I do rituals in it, so I don't know if we'd want to eat out of that.
No, I don't need your
Richios.
owl pot.
My owl pot.
Zilri does not have anything of the like. So
Wait. What is mess kit?
Yeah.
mess kit is
Yeah, it's cooking pan.
Yeah, okay. Trovik reach behind back and magically pull mess kit out of from back.
Whoa.
Where was he keeping that?
In his hammer space.
Wouldn't you like to know?
I wouldn't, actually. Never mind. Thank you. I also have one.
Apparently I have Trovik have big pick that keep forgetting about.
It's just it's very tiny on your back. Like, it looks like you bought it from the kids section and then just kind of loosened the arms.
Doxia kind of like
like
goes
a
behind you.
Hello
and just
Kitty.
like, it's right here, and she kind of jiggles it over your shoulder.
I get it.
It's right here. So just remember, it's left side, over shoulder, left side.
Okay.
Grab your axe from your right. You grab your bag from your left. Or in this case, left, under. You get it.
Up, up, down, down, left, right.
R2, R2, L1, R2.
BA select start.
Up, up, down, down.
So you all have a bit of a nice foraged breakfast with breakfast wine.
The best.
Zilri kind of like refrains giving it to Doxia. Doxia is kind of curious, but then remembers, best not. And yeah, at this point, while you are all eating, you do hear like a carriage go by down the road, coming from the northern side of the plated roadway, passing by. The driver kind of just like nods, waves, and keeps going down southward. A little bit spooked at Trovik's like, ooh, and Orin's attempted,
Yeah, that too.
and just kind of like starts going a little bit faster.
We are not a normal looking group.
Cough, cough.
Yeah. You all have a
Think it
lovely
is-
breakfast.
Time to get moving.
What about sword lesson number 1?
What about second sword lesson?
Yeah, I wanna fight.
It's
I
a
wanna
very
battle.
quick lesson, and it's a lesson that we'll be able to do if we take a stop later on down the road. So I'll do the introductory part, we'll practice for a little bit, and then we'll go. So, most important part about sword fighting.
Mhm.
Do you think you know what it is?
Hold the handle in your hand.
That's sword lesson 0. You passed. Congrats.
Yes.
No. Sword lesson 1 is basic weapon maintenance. Can you repeat that to me?
Basic weapon maintenance.
Perfect. So, I've already did my routine for this morning. This here's called a whetstone. Yeah, wet with an H. You wet it. You put water on it, and then
Okay.
use it to sharpen your weapon. So earlier, when you were lighting the fire with your knife, doing that dulls it a little bit, and it's not as good in combat. And when it's not as good in combat, you don't do as well in combat. So, what you're gonna do is I take out my water skin, splash a little water on it, put a little water on this here whetstone,
Okay.
and then you take it to your blade like this, and you rub the stone on the edge of the blade in sort of a downward diagonal way, and get that edge to be nice and sharp. So, here's your whetstone, there's your dagger, and I sort of guide her hands to like hold the stone at the right angle, hold the knife at the right angle, and move the stone away from your body, have the knife pointed away from your body.
She starts following the motions that you presented to her and guided her by her hands. She goes a little bit faster at some point.
Yeah, nice even pace. You don't want to go too fast because it could damage the weapon. Always check your progress after a few movements and just make sure that it's looking good. Switch to the other side when it's looking fine.
She kind of looks at the blade. I think I got it. And she turns it over and starts doing the other side. And she does it for a few rounds. I'd say she gets the gist of it, and eventually she does sharpen it. After a while, I think if anything, she over sharpens it, if that's a thing. She's like, okay, how do I know if it's sharp? I mean, it looks sharp. Is it sharp?
That's a great question. Oh, jeez. It's been a while since I've been a Boy Scout. I'll take the blade and I'll sort of look at it and assess whether it is appropriately sharp, and then I will help show her how to tell if it's appropriately sharp.
There are a couple of like uneven spots, but she did a decent job for a first time.
You can tell where my real world knowledge starts to run out, and I'm just like, I do fantasy stuff.
That's fair. So while you all are starting to walk down the road, the plated roadway, you're just kind of like getting Doxia to do this as she walks, and Trovik's like kind of keeping an eye on her so she doesn't trip.
Yep, and you want to do this maintenance every day you end up using the weapon. It's very important. If you don't use it for a few days in a row, then you want to do it just to keep it clean, just to keep it sharp.
Okay.
Because if your weapon's not sharp, then you just don't do well in battle, and you need to do well in battle.
Okay, good to know, good to know. I'll have to get myself a whetstone at some point. Where would I keep it, though? And she kind of looks around herself. She's like, there's like this small... There's a small pocket attached to this, the underside of this tabard that she's kind of like stuck the dagger in, and obviously it's punctured it, and it just kind of becomes like this makeshift holster.
We can get you some supplies in Boamar probably, and if not, we can get it on our way back.
Okay.
Yes. We will find the best adventure belt ever for Little Flower.
Yes. I'm gonna be an adventurer. She kind of just whispers to herself. But you continue on, the 6 of you, and it's about midday by the time you start making your way north. And it's not until about late afternoon, early evening that you finally approach Boamar. Oh, move that out of the way. And what you can see from now, Azazel, you've been here already, so you're familiar with what the town is like. But for the rest of you, upon coming down the plated roadway, you see what looks like a very long-ish town that kind of goes from the roadway eastward. A series of different buildings that kind of poke out through what looks like a lot of different trees and vegetation that kind of overgrows in between some of the buildings. And it's not until you get closer to the entryway to the town where you see this large oak tree just fixated right in the center of the entryway of this massive wide road that kind of just goes all the way down through the town and cuts right through it. And it's kind of barren. The tree itself is like maybe 50, 60 feet high, about looking at almost maybe a 10-foot diameter, and it has little, like, it's got like a rope tied around it with these little charms that kind of hang all around it. And as you enter, just walking past the tree, it's the large oak tree, you see it's a long dirt road that you can kind of see it end and cut through the entire town itself. The town, it's almost like split in two. And there are a lot of different types of vegetation growing all throughout the town. In between, above, on the houses themselves, the buildings, everywhere. Bushes, shrubs, vines, plants, other smaller trees. But the one odd thing that kind of you notice shortly after stepping in is how quiet it is.
Whoops.
It's sorry. How oddly quiet it is. The only thing that kind of like you hear is, aside from the wind itself and the rustling of the plants and the trees, the leaves in the wind, the odd like animal noises here and there, like a random bark or a grunt. You see people walking to and from on the edges of the street. Many stalls and vendors kind of lined up along the edges of this wide dirt road. People talking amongst themselves, but in almost like a hushed tones. And it's
the same vibe I got last time I was here.
The same vibe? What do you mean?
Like, was it this sort of like eerily quiet, hushed, everyone keep to themselves sort of
Yeah.
vibe?
So to give you a little bit more background from what I initially told you, Boamar is a hunting eccentric town, or like a hunting focused town. Everyone is trained to be a hunter of some kind in the wild to be able to survive, forage for food and whatnot. The town itself is heavily invested in nature, so much so that there's a huge religious aspect to it in which they serve Sylvanus, the forest father, the god of all wild nature.
Nature daddy.
So, and you're familiar with that. A lot of the people here, they keep to themselves. If you talk to them, they'll talk to you back, but it's kind of like there's almost this air of everybody speaks in lower tones, hushed tones, whispers, because that's kind of the way they've all been raised, to be silent hunters. And there's a huge a huge respect for nature in this town and animals themselves. Even though hunting is a big part of their daily market and commerce, they still respect nature and the animals that they hunt. So like you will see, as most of you are passing through, you will see wild animals that you would not expect in a town. Like you see an elk passing through like some of the alleyways, just kind of crossing the street. You do see like one or two like wild dogs just kind of like walking through or kind of like playing in the streets. Further in, actually, an interesting sight is you see like an old turtle. He kind of looks like a Galapagos tortoise, kind of like slowly hobbling through. And next to him is this old giant boar that kind of like walks next to him, and he's just like, you can hear him kind of like subtly humming. And even though it sounds low, but because it's so quiet, you can kind of hear him from like down the street. He's just like, and he walks over, and you see a fawn kind of like come out of the brush in between these two sections of housing. And then you don't quite hear what he says, but he goes into his satchel, pulls out what looks like bits of food, starts feeding the fawn and kind of like petting it, taps it on the head, and then continues walking with the boar in tow. And then the fawn kind of just like looks in your general direction, kind of like the ear flicks, and then it kind of like starts walking back into the brushed area.
Orin drools and says, "Buffet!"
Zilri just kind of like puts a hand on your shoulder. Orin, maybe we shouldn't eat the animals. They might be somebody's pets. Maybe we can buy some food.
I'll step up. Greetings, people of the Big Boamar.
Immediately, like, you see everyone within, I don't know, maybe like 100 feet, kind of like all turn their heads towards you. Even like some of the animals kind of like, they're just keeping themselves and they just perk up and they listen to your direction. They all just like, everyone and everything is now gawking at you in the entryway to the town.
Yes, attention on this adventuring party. We are heroes of back there, and here to save your town. Please make yourselves known to us now, please.
If there was a smile on Zorl's face before, breathing deep, and getting a sense of the nature of this town. It's gone now.
Oh.
Now, as he is doing this, just scowl, sigh of disappointment, go up to Trovik, hand on his shoulder, and sort of like turn him around as he's finished saying what he's saying, and lock eyes with him.
Zorl, I was going... Oh, you don't look happy.
Now I can read the room. Okay.
You're not going to do dark magic on Trovik, are you?
That is yet to be determined. You disturb the peace of this place. I thought you might be different since our talk, but I stand disappointed. I don't know how much that means to you, but perhaps in this place in particular, you would exhibit some restraint.
Some strength? You want me to show Trovik muscles?
Whoa.
Doxia kind of like pulls on your waistline.
Ah!
I no, like she's just pulling on like your waist, kind of like just tugging at you.
My waist. Okay. Hey, what's up?
I think what Zoro means is maybe just. It seems like a quiet place. Maybe we just be quiet and not
Announce ourselves, and she kind of looks up at Zoro. Right?
Right.
Okay. Like yeah, that. Maybe we just use our inside voices. You know, when we were in the wagons and we had to talk to each other, we would kind of use our inside voices, kind of like that.
Oh, okay. So stealth planning for escape. Talk.
Shh. Yeah. That.
Trovic can get down with this. And turn in secret planning voice to Zoro. Trovic, very sorry. Zoro.
You are still learning. That is what I must remind myself. You will get there one day.
A little warning would have been nice.
Yes, Hazel.
You can apologize, it's okay.
Been here before.
Yeah. Oops.
Trovic, here. Take this, and I'll give him one of the flowers from L.O.R.E's bouquet. Just focus on this for a while. Let's move on.
Zoro kind of like comes up behind you as Zoro walks away. Don't worry, big guy. You'll get the hang of this. It just takes a little time. Here, she kind of looks out. Here, we probably just don't want to be as conspicuous as we all are.
In secret planning escape voice. Trovic tummy ache again.
Well, maybe we'll get you some water here. And she kind of like gives you like some water. Maybe that'll help calm you. Just relax, take a deep breath, and I'm sure everything will be okay.
All this is happening. Orn has broken away from the group and walked up to someone and held out the 2.5 fish and said, "Where? Sell."
You see like a half-elf female with like short red hair kind of just looking at you. Well, if you're interested, I could buy the fish from you.
Where? Sell 2 lizards. More lizards, more fish.
I don't think I understand the question, but if you're looking to sell to other lizards, I don't think there are other lizards in this town aside from maybe a few salamanders. She looks very confused, and she's like, if you want to sell them, I could buy them at like 3 silver each. She's like, how? And she kind of like looks at them. How fresh are they?
Morning catch.
Which morning?
Which morning? Make a deception check for me.
Would Azazel have seen Orn approach someone with fish?
I think it's quite plain and easy enough to spot Orn just like when they veer off and decide to go do something with an eyesight.
Azazel's gonna follow them.
I got a 10.
A 10. She's like, doesn't look that old, but it looks a little dry. You sure it was this morning? Did you keep it in water?
Hey, a morning.
A morning? How far? What morning did you catch this?
And she's starting to look a little concerned.
Yesterday.
Okay, yesterday is not that bad.
She thinks for a moment.
I'll give you... if you want to sell them, I can give you maybe a silver 5 copper per.
Is Azazel looking? Does he see me?
Yeah. I'm letting you have your turn.
Orin turns to Azazel and says, this lady buy fish, but where other lizards sell fish?
What the shit?
That's actually a great question. Hi there. Sorry. I'm
Hi.
butt in here for a second.
Okay.
My name's Azazel Starflower. I'm an Enquêteur. I was in here a few days ago searching for some mysterious creatures. And
Right.
parallelly related to that, we were in Simyaza with our friend Orn here, some fellow lizard folk from their clan or group or family. I'm actually not sure what they called it. Anyway,
Yeah.
they have been selling fish to what we believe a merchant here in this town. We just want to know where we might find that individual. If you've seen lizard folk coming and going with baskets of fish, if they've gone to one specific merchant.
I recall seeing maybe 3 arrive late yesterday. I'm not sure where the vendors are. You might have to just keep going down the hunter's procession. Chances are you'll probably spot them.
Yeah, they'll probably be the one with an ample amount of fish, I'd imagine.
Yes. I don't know which vendors they're dealing with, but all of us tend to line the hunter's procession, so I'm sure you'll see them with ease. It just might take you a while to get to the other end of this end of town.
Right, yeah, because we didn't pass our lizard friends on the way up here, so they're probably still in town, I'm assuming. So we will certainly do that. And in the meantime, feel free to buy those fish from my friend.
Right.
She kind of just looks at Orn. Sure, and she takes the 2 fish from Orn, and she gives you 3 silver. 2.5. She takes the half. She's like, I don't think I'll take here. You can keep that one. But she does give you 3 silver for the 2 fish.
Orin looks at it confusingly and hands it to Azazel.
Oh.
Azazel,
Okay.
you have now 3 silver.
Wow. I'm rolling in it.
Bruh.
Nice.
So, what are the rest of you doing? Or shall I just keep describing the town as it is?
Is there any tavern-looking location?
Hard to say from first glance, as similar to Simyaza, most of the buildings are built in similar fashion, though some kind of stick out more than others. But it's hard to tell because of the abundance of vegetation kind of filling in the gaps between each building or even surrounding some of it. Just enough, and that's another point. There's always just enough vegetation growing around, on top of, or surrounding a building to kind of like not obscure it or cover, but enough to just, it's there and it's obvious.
He will go up to closest humanoid figure. Possibly, I guess it's the one that Orn would have been talking to, maybe?
Sure, you could talk to the same person.
And what does this person look like?
Female half-elf. She's got short red hair, a bit of more of a pointed nose, kind of wearing like almost a pastel green tunic.
Okay. Trovik go up, lean in. Beggars pardon.
Yes?
Could you show us to tavern where ale is?
Sure. She kind of just gestures. If you go down 3 more blocks, there's the leaky tap. It'll be on the right-hand side.
Leaky tap. I look back and say that to Azel. 3 doors down, leaky tap.
And she's kind of, there's like a look of fear in her eyes, just looking as you're like towering over her and trying to whisper.
I give her the Trovic smile. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
And she kind of is like, go now, please, thank you.
Actually, just real quick. My friends will go ahead. I'm sorry, but since I am unofficial Encantor business, I want to ask you just a few quick questions. What was your name?
Okay. Silva.
Silva. Okay. So, Silva, just in regards to my initial mission before being sidetracked with the lizard fish, possibly related.
Sure.
In looking for these unnatural large beasts that might be disturbing natural wildlife, have you noticed any sort of decline in the bringing in of hunting or gathering, or in general feel or balance of nature, particularly with any sort of hunting groups maybe having members disappear or encountering strange creatures outside of the village?
There's been no sightings in town. There are a lot of animals that kind of roam freely here. I know I've heard some of the hunters have had a hard time capturing and getting game out in the eastern fields. There's some new, as you put it, some new creatures that have kind of like come out of nowhere. I haven't seen anything. Maybe you want to talk to some of the hunters instead?
Yeah. I think that would be good. The eastern fields, okay. I will ask around the hunter's procession and find some hunting groups that have frequented or do frequent the eastern fields and see what they say.
Okay. Yeah. Is that everything?
What is with all the barking dogs?
Oh, you're back. There are a lot of wild animals here. Some people have them as pets, and some of them just kind of come through. Animals are a big part of the town itself. Do any of you want to buy some pelts?
And she kind of like gestures to her stall.
Oh,
Horn takes a nice good sniff.
You see you can kind of get the hint of like a few like wolf pelts, some deer, maybe even like a few, I'd say, bits and pieces of like bear skin.
Don't
Horn rubs its
show
face
that one
against
to
the
Zoro.
pelts.
I'd rather you not rub up against the pelts.
It's just like trying to push you away.
If you want to buy one, I can sell you one, and you can do as you so choose with it. You can rub it up your scales, up against your scales.
I completely missed a word there.
Phrasing.
The pelt that Orin was rubbing themselves against, I'll buy that one for them.
These are belts.
I mean, if you want to wear it as a belt, I mean, you're more than welcome to.
Can I look at Little Flower? Little Flower, you want belt? It is like
I think I'm okay. I've got my own fur.
traveling adventure souvenir.
Yeah, we're a bunch of tourists.
I don't know. I kind of already warm them. Maybe something else.
Zoro,
We'll
do
see
you
what-
want pelt? Little
No.
Flower no want pelt.
No reaction to you.
It's she kind of like it'll be if here I'll give me here 5 silver. Take this pelt and go. Let's do Azazel.
I pay her and we leave her alone.
Thank you. Don't come again.
Why is
Come back
everybody
later.
telling Trovik to go?
Listen, something we all need to understand when we're in this town is just because we're quiet doesn't mean we're likable. Some people they don't like prolonged conversations with people, especially some weirdos that just rolled into town. So we have to be a little bit more delicate when we're interacting with the locals, just because they're very private people. It took quite a bit of talking for me to get as little information as I could out of those hunters. Hopefully, better luck this time, but we'll see.
Red man, you are saying a lot of big words. Hard for Trovik to keep up.
I apologize for that.
In
Sometimes I
one
just sort of
lizard
get going.
ear, out the other.
Yeah.
What Azazel's trying to say is just we just have to keep to ourselves.
Inside burn. Well done.
We just have to keep to ourselves, and he'll do all the talking for us, and we'll find exactly what we need, right?
You made up that part. I don't know where that came from, but 9 for 10, sure.
See, don't worry about it, big guy.
So instead of heading right to the leaky tap, I say we go to the hunter's procession first, see if we can find our lizard friends or someone selling a lot of fish, or if the lizard folk come and hang out at the tavern, we could split up into groups. If we want to do that. I just want to get some more information from the hunter's procession, find where they're selling the fish. You know, step one.
I will come with you to the hunter's procession.
Great.
Hey, Oren, you want to try vodka?
I'm lizard.
Yeah, maybe lizard in tavern. Or do we follow, stick with the party. Poopers.
Lizard tavern?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Orton follows Trovik.
Silver, please follow them. Don't let those two leave the tavern, I beg you.
All right, don't worry about it. I'll keep an eye on them. Zora kind of walks up.
Leading the blind.
Zora kind of like follows behind Trovik and Orin. Doxy is just like,
Eeny, meeny.
which, Miney.
Catch
What she looks at
little
you,
flower
Azazel.
by a...
You're gonna go talk to people?
Yep.
Talk to people, go to bar. Talk to people, go to bar.
We are going to not talk to people quietly. Practice secret escape
all
plan
right,
voice.
I'll go with Trovik. It's just more of like she's kind of like, I'll keep an eye on him as well. Don't worry, we'll be fine. And she kind of like starts to skip away and catch up with the others, and then slowly walks to next to them.
I'll also say, while we're in this village, Pepper's just kind of vibing. He's just kind of like flying around, like chilling on roofs and stuff. Very, very comfortable that these people won't kill him while he's in the village.
You hear,
Don't worry, Orn's got an eye on him.
you hear Pepper kind of chime in.
This is quite lovely. It's nice to be around other birds. Oh, look, there's a hawk. Let us be mindful of that one.
Yeah. Oh, this would still be a nice place to retire, though.
Of course. It seems very quiet, calm, and ever so peaceful.
It's the music.
He kind of flutters.
And there are so many trees to perch on. I could make a nest here. I wonder what it's like
Don't
here.
really on me, or wouldn't have settled down already.
Oh, don't be absurd. I'm just thinking out loud. So before, well, as that group, I guess Zoril and Azazel are veering off to go find some more information while the rest of the party is looking for a tavern, we'll go ahead and take a quick break.
Oh, God.
Hey.
We'll go ahead and take a quick break, get some water, use the bathroom, get some snacks, because snacks are always great.
Snacks!
And then come back, and we'll see what happens.
All right.
Don't go anywhere!
We'll be back.
Hey, what happened to the stream? Where's the D&D?
Stay tuned, adventurers. We'll be right back.
Oh, I get it. Pee break.
And we're back. What's up, everybody? Hey, thanks for tuning in and sticking around, all of you people, you lovely, amazing people at home. Hey, don't forget, we are a Extra Life stream, so we are rolling for charity. A awesome fundraiser, and our local one is Penn State Children's Hospital. And we are currently up to $216, which is almost halfway to our 2021 goal. So, we've rolled one natural one so far. So you can, you guys watching at home can donate down below, or you can donate whenever you see it in chat where it says to, take the challenge. That's that. The challenge.
Yourselves.
Starring
challenge.
Mary-Kate and Ashley.
Hello, adventurer. Donate money.
Yay, money.
Ah, boy. So, let's go with, who do I want to jump into? Because now we have dividing groups. Let's start off with Zoril and Azazel. And then we'll jump into the other group. So, you see the four of them kind of wander off down the street, kind of looking for this bar that this half-elven woman mentioned. The two of you kind of just standing there. It is still quiet. You do see people moving about. You hear, like, faint chatter between some of the vendors and some of the other purchasers. And people are kind of going about. It looks fairly busy for such a quiet town.
As we're making our way down the road to this, I'll go to say to Zazel, just like, I do really like this place. At least things seem to be more or less in balance. That, from what I can tell, from just walking in here, I feel at ease. Or at least I did. Until Trovic decided to open his mouth.
Yeah, sorry about that. I figured you'd like the place, but he's learning. But yeah, I mean, this town is beautiful, and thankfully you're not reading any imbalance, because it sounds like the people that are experiencing issues are out in the eastern fields. So we'll gather some information about that, and taking care of whatever natural imbalance out there will protect places like this from having to worry about it. So let's hope we can find some answers.
It feels like we are getting closer to our goal. And I wanted to ask you, in particular, this is where you came from before you came to Zimyaza.
Yeah, I came from Boamar down to Simyaza when I heard word of that giant lizard creature.
But this is not your home, is it?
No, I actually come from up at the capital. This is not my usual place, but it's quite nice.
Indeed. And you are when we first met you, I called you an arbiter. You seem to know the law. That is your vocation?
Yeah, practicer of the law, trained for it, and then I sort of climbed up to be my own individual within it. I act under like a central command, but I don't have a direct officer that I necessarily have to report to all the time. Just when I solve a case, I divulge as much as I can about the investigation.
So, you took a special interest in these strange beasts, or was this a case that was given to you?
It was an assignment, like most things start out to be, but you quickly learn that if you just let everything be an assignment, you don't quite enjoy it as much. So I try to put quite a bit of myself into my work, and, frankly, getting out of the city, coming out to these nice places, meeting some interesting folk, it's been a nice change of pace. So even though I didn't choose this, I'm glad that whatever it is that commands the odds of chance decided that I would have this case.
Yes. The winds blow in strange directions. We sometimes do not know where they go, but we always end up somewhere good. At least it will be good in the end. So, I hope that this will help you to find like you said, it's not just a assignment. This is something that you can put yourself into and hopefully find something of yourself in.
One can certainly hope.
Come, I rely on you to do the talking, but maybe I can help you just by being here. Give him a pat on the back. I will enhance his charisma with that. So you would just have advantage.
Should have been Orn.
Charisma checks.
Love it.
All right. So you two are walking down the street itself. I'll give you the choice. You can either make a perception check to see if there are any noticeable figures, features, or creatures within town, or you can make an investigation check if you want to be a little bit more thorough in talking to some of the locals, let's say.
Well, I could say that Azazel would prefer to be thorough. How's Zorro feeling? Okay, cool. I'll roll an
He was chewing on something.
Sorry. I'll roll an investigation.
Sorry, I had ginger snap in my mouth.
You're good.
Good, no worries.
That's a 22.
22. So, okay, so what exactly are you asking or inquiring about in terms of details?
To find a hunter's procession, particularly if there's been a group of hunters that have been selling a lot more fish than usual, if they've seen lizard folk dealing with merchants, and asking like a few vague questions about the eastern fields, but some of the more specific questions I'm saving for specifically the group with the fish.
Okay. So, the first person you talk to corrects you and says, well, the hunter's procession, you're in the hunter's procession. The hunter's procession is the entire road that spans this entire town, from end to end, from the two oak trees. So it's like the hunter's procession is the entire dirt road that lines one end of the town to the other. And it's named specifically for the fact that when hunters, gatherers, and whatnot
they go out into the wilds to get their catch, they all kind of like, it's in this weird marching order that they do it, and it's almost like a procession that they lead out of the town. Hence why it's named as such. Asking about, a couple people mentioned that they saw a few lizard folk pass through not too long ago, but they're not quite sure where they went. However, you do come across, while asking about, a unique individual. You see what looks like a centaur kind of like walking through the streets, and someone kind of points them out and says to speak with her. This, she's maybe about from hoof to wither, she's about 4 feet, and then it's another like 3 feet of like her human-esque torso. So she's ranging almost 7 feet tall. Like a dark brown equine body, almost like a mauve, like peachy mauve skin tone, a little bit darker, but there's almost like that reddish or purplish undertone that kind of peeks through a little bit. A long black Dutch braided hair down her back, and even her tail is kind of like similar. Very minimal clothing, but just enough to leave it to your imagination kind of thing. And she's got this almost squarish fey features, even though fey features tend to be more sharper and angular. Hers are a little bit more squarish, with like the ever so slender eyes, and she looks like she's kind of just walking through town, kind of like brushing past some of the trees and the bushes, and it looks almost as if she's speaking to them directly, kind of smiling. And someone gestures you to go speak with her. And they mention it's like her name is Merlet Hazeldreamer.
Wait for him to write that down. No.
Yeah.
Beautiful name. I had to write it.
And as the two of you kind of like take that gesture and approach her, she kind of looks over to you and just ever so softly smiles. Greetings, travelers. Welcome to Boamar. Is there anything I can help you with?
Yeah, actually, Miss Hazeldreamer, we were told to come speak to you about some lizard folks that have come in and out of here trading fish with some merchants, and potentially about the eastern fields.
Oh yes, there are 3 lizard folk that came in not but a few hours ago. I think it was last evening. They just headed down to the eastern side of town, and have rested somewhere in one of the local, I guess, the local alleyways. They tend to like to sleep in the brushes, it seems. But they were dealing with some of the newer merchants that have been in town for some time, collecting an assortment of animals.
And these merchants are distinctly separate from your typical hunters in this area?
Oh yes, we do get a handful of merchants and vendors that come to buy and trade and sell. But these ones, a group of humans, a bit brash in their demeanor, but they seem to be asking and having some of our local hunters gather some wild, live, or dead game from the fields out of town.
Interesting.
This is not a normal practice.
It's uncommon, but not rare or new. There have been instances in the past where individuals like to collect exotic animals as pets, or seeking them for whatever personal trade they so use them for. Their pelts, some have unique organs and properties that even some magicians and wizards use. It's uncommon, but not unheard of. She kind of looks at you, Zorro. I can sense in you a great attunement to this place, but not just this place, of the wilds around you. It's comforting to know that there are others, aside from myself and a handful of people here, that have that connection to nature. What might your names be?
I am Zoral. This is my companion, Azazel.
It is a pleasure to meet you both, Zoral and Azazel.
I am comforted by this place as well.
Quite. It is a peaceful place, and I do enjoy keeping it as such.
And in the vein of keeping it peaceful and in balance, Merlet, have you heard word of a? You seem very in tune with nature. Have you heard word of any sorts of disturbances or imbalances, unnatural creatures out in the eastern fields?
Oh yes, the eastern fields. Well, it's. And she kind of gestures to the eastern side of town, down the road. It's just the fields themselves, the wilds, the grasslands, the meadows, the valleys, all that are on the eastern side of, well, the town itself. I've heard a great many deal of these new creatures that have kind of spawned in the last several months. Quite troublesome. I am wondering, I have also spoken with, I'm not sure if you have met him, but we have a resident here by the name of Nu. He's kind of the beast master of this town, kind of looking over the different wild animals that you see roaming here. We've had discussions that no, probably not.
Okay.
No, I'm gonna say for now, no.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I only spoke with like hunters, not necessarily their beast master.
I'm curious to know if maybe we have been in discussions and we think, well, with the many wild animals that kind of roam here, we do have a respect for them. And to show them respect, we treat them as best we can. We offer up, not necessarily prayer, but we don't squander hunting them, killing them, as is part of nature itself. And we try to keep L.O.R.E in our good graces just for that reason alone. But I'm wondering if maybe L.O.R is behind it, although I cannot see the god of the beasts being so malicious. Well, malicious enough to create all these new strange and violent creatures, though it is kind of up his alley. But fear not, in Boamar here, it's quite calm. Everything is at ease. There is balance between industry and nature. We do our best to keep it that way and respect the land and treat it as if it is the very source of our existence. I have heard of, I think the newest one I heard about, some of the other hunters are calling it a vulpentile. Such a strange name to call a creature, but something of a fox-like creature with that kind of looks like a dragon. A mix of the two. Apparently, it spits stone. Strange creatures indeed. But nothing has ventured into town, at least. Other than that, I know the most few days back, almost a week ago, there has been one troop that were specifically sent out to just a regular hunting day, and most of them were slain by one of these newer beasts. Talking about the some large reptilian creature with armored carapace, Only 3 of them survived and have been locked in their homes for a few days. And I have been unable to get them to come out over the fear.
I had the fortunate misfortune of having to speak with them the last time I was in town,
have you?
and that was about the same recount I got from them.
Yes, I check on them every day, and alas, my inquiries go unabated. No responses. They seem to still be in shock, but I'm certain in time they'll eventually come outside again, and we'll help them out. But if you do enter out into the wilds, do be careful of these creatures.
We will do our best.
As for the merchants and your lizard friends,
She kind of gestures, she kind of trots in place for a moment and then gestures out eastward.
the vendors you seek, the humans, they're near the end of the town. They have a series of different, well, it is a little bit barbaric, but not frowned upon. They have a lot of different wild animals caged up. They like to keep close to the entrances, to keep an eye on those that they hire to go out and get their catch, so to speak. I believe your lizard friends had gone that way.
Been very helpful, Merlin. Thank you.
You are most welcome.
Start heading east.
All right.
She kind of smiles and almost like bows graciously to the two of you. Before the two of you leave, she does kind of like gesture to Zorl.
Young Zorl, before you go, just keep an eye on Duntala and Juniper. I'm sure they would be ever so pleasant to meet you. They might even come out and speak with you. Don't be afraid of them, though.
She smiles and kind of like starts walking down the street.
I will watch for them. Thank you.
Oh, I hope you do. They're already watching you.
And she kind of giggles and keeps going down the street. And we're going to jump to the other group. So the four of you walking down the hunter's procession. Let's say make a perception check for me, one of you. Or both of you. Your choice.
Oh, yeah, let's roll. Let's roll, man. Come on.
Keep rolling.
10 plus stuff.
I got a 15.
13.
15, 13. And you know what? For the sake of it, I'm going to roll for Zilri as well.
One.
Is the loneliest number
13.
that you ever
So
know.
13, 13, 15. Between at least the three of you, you find what you think that half-elven woman pointed out. She did say the leaky tap, but she did say it in a bit of a frightful way, or a stammered way. And you come across this, what looks like a tavern embedded in a series of thick trees, but up top the sign says the leafy sap. Instead of the leaky tap.
Scratch out leafy. Leaky tap.
Zara's like, well, it's not the right name. It's close enough. Let's go inside.
What does sign say?
It says leafy sap.
Kind of rings with the whole, and she kind of gestures with the whole decor of this town.
Okay. Let's get the drinks.
All right.
Sir.
Entering this tavern, it is smaller than most of the ones you've been in Samyaza. It doesn't seem to be very busy. There's only like maybe one other patron in here. An elven gentleman kind of just sitting back, and it looks like he's drinking tea while writing down some notes and has a book in another hand. But there is the barkeeper, just kind of like almost in tandem, kind of like has a book, looks up, sees you. Oh, good evening. How can I help you?
More lizards?
No, there's no other lizards here, just Samson. The elven patron kind of just doesn't look up from the book, just kind of waves.
Orin flashes like a forlorn look at Trovic.
Excuse me, bartender. Have you seen like a couple of lizard folks, like my friend Orn here, who've passed in town? We're trying to find them. And also, I want something strong to drink. Maybe a whiskey if you have. Can't say I have seen any lizard folk come into town, or, well, come into my bar at least, but I can at least get you the whiskey. The rest of you want a drink? Gesturing to the four of you. Doxia's just, I'm good with just water for now. Water?
Oh, looks around for Zorro.
This one will have all the vodka you can provide.
Alright, I'll open up a tab for you, I guess. Comes back with, like, do you want them in shots? Or in tankards? Or in highball glasses?
What is big?
He pulls up a tankard. This is big. Like a mug. So he pours in some... He pours in, like, a bit of vodka for you. Maybe a third of the mug. Kind of puts it towards you.
Yes, fill it up.
Oh. Alright then, and he kind of just keeps pouring until it's full.
Okay, this is good.
That's a lot of vodka. Alright, well, you're new, so... I've not seen... who am I to judge? Whatever. Enjoy the vodka. Here's your whiskey, ma'am. Lizard person? What's, what are you looking for? Alright, he gets 2 glasses of water. Here you go for the lizard and, lion?
Big adventurer.
Big adventurer. She just kind of smiles like, yeah, I'm a big adventurer. I'm learning how to use knives and rescue people and fight monsters. Wow, that's really something. Sure, I'd gladly be able to provide a big adventurer like you, some local beverages to keep you, quenched.
Orin slams the water, pops the glass on the table, slides it over. Another!
Alright, sure, and he just pours another glass of water. You don't need to slam the glass down, you're gonna break it.
Are we doing this? Okay. Slams drink, slaps down.
Orin sees Trovic slam it down and then chugs it again and slams it too.
He's,
I'm
alright.
liking you more and more.
Doxia looks at Zilri. Zilri looks at Doxia. Trovic, are we really gonna get drunk? Oh, and she just sees the bartender pouring you another full mug. Oh, okay, he's going to get drunk.
No. Trovic, get loose.
Riggedy wrecked, son!
You will tell Trovic about this riggedy wreck.
Zilri just was sipping her whiskey. She's like, you might want to take it easy there, big guy. We still gotta look around for people, and we can't do it being, we have to do it being a little bit sober. And she just pounds it back. She's like, I'll take a double this time. Alright. So he just keeps... The drinks keep coming for all you guys until you tell me to stop.
So, I will hold my second one and start sipping it.
Okay.
So we are in town.
to what are we doing?
Well,
Lizards!
yes, we gotta find the other lizards, right?
Yes.
Lizards take us to Fish Buyer.
So shouldn't we find more vendors?
Fish Buyer.
Fish buyer? We're just... Don't worry, little Doxia. We're just taking a quick detour. Just a couple of drinks, loosen up the tongues, and see if people want to, help us out.
Orn is drinking so much water. Orn needs to empty the fish. It's Orn bladder. So goes outside. It just walks away. To go outside.
Jeez. She starts just drinking her whiskey a little bit quicker this time.
It is okay. I'll drink a lot of vodka just now. It is going to it is going to hit very fast.
I'm pretty sure that wasn't vodka.
No, I'm pretty sure. Orn go toe to toe. Or hoof with Trovik. So we should ask. I'm going to start scanning the room.
There's literally only one other person in the room, other than the bartender.
What does other person look like?
Male elven individual. He's currently just sitting at one of the tables, drinking what looks like drinking tea, writing in a series of papers, and he has a book in his left hand, and he's kind of skimming through the book, jotting down some stuff. I would say long black hair, but kind of braided in three, I guess pigtails, I would call them, or braided in 3 braids. Wearing small little spectacles, kind of simple attire, nothing too outlandish, mostly browns, greens, and grays. Kind of just keeping to himself. Takes a sip of his tea.
You there!
Looks up.
Greetings, citizen of Boamar. We have question for you. Come sit.
I'm already sitting.
Orn, scoot down. Get up and sit. Zora, you want to take this one?
Look, sir. My friend here is. What he's trying to say is we're looking for some of the other lizard folk that have been in town. Have you by chance seen them?
Fish vendors.
And we're looking for fish vendors.
No, I haven't seen any other lizard folk, and this town doesn't sell fish. We're not near a lake.
Most disappointing.
You might find someone if you ask about, but I wouldn't know who they are.
Sorry, I cannot be of any further help. And kind of goes back to his book. Starts writing down some more. Well, that was a bummer. That didn't quite help us, but maybe if we have more people to talk to other than this bar.
It was okay. Silly, you are good if detective is Little Red Man. You did good job, Silly.
Thanks for the compliment, big guy. Appreciate it.
Yes. You should, slow down on drink, though.
I'm okay. I know my limits. And I live within them. Sometimes. Shakes another sip. Well, really, we should probably go find Orn and the rest of the group, then. If, we're not going to find anything in here. She kind of puts down some money on the table for the drink. And she kind of sighs doing it, she realizes it's just the 3 of you.
Oh, man. Alright. Last attempt. Bartender.
Yeah?
Where is danger at?
outside of town? In the wild?
Okay, I give up, guys. Maybe...
Are you looking for danger?
Always looking to protect town.
Okay, well, you won't find much danger in town. It's pretty quiet here. So, if you leave town, go into the wild, I'm sure there's some nasty beasties out there that will clearly want to fuck you up.
It is exciting. Do you sell belts?
No, I sell alcohol.
Damn it. How much for your belt?
I'm not wearing a belt. He looks down.
I am not a good detective, so... Well, Torovic got vodka. What do we do now?
Maybe we should ask around and see where some of the fish vendors are. At least we know there's a bar in town. So if we... I suspect that if we don't find something, I'm sure Azazel and Zoro will. In which case, then we'll come back here and get some more drinks, right?
Yes, yes.
We'll get them to come with us so that they can have some drinks with us too.
Orn, what do you think?
Orn went outside.
Orn! Why did I not notice?
Drunk!
Talked about the yelling.
Your lizard friend went outside, sir.
We should go get Orn.
Sure. Let's go. We've had a couple of drinks.
Well, let's all go surprise Orn.
All right. The three of you kind of venture back outside. Orn, what are you doing outside? Or where have you gone?
Orn peed behind the building.
The good thing is nobody had seen you do it, because behind the building you have to wade through some bushes behind a couple of trees, and there's enough foliage obscurity that, well, you're a little bit darker tone than most of the foliage around, but you kind of blend in well enough that you could just relieve yourself and nobody would say a word. They'd probably chalk it up to one of the animals.
And then Orn, kind of like ADD, doesn't think about going back in. Just like sees something. I don't know what's around. DM.
Well, currently behind the building, there are a couple more buildings scattered about, and they create these narrow alleyways, big enough for people to walk through, but not so big enough that a lot of the bigger animals that you had seen roaming around to kind of fit through. And again, there are a lot of different types of vegetation growing in abundance about. So a lot of it is more like plants that you see kind of like filling up the spaces.
Okay, so there's like edible plants?
Sure, you could probably eat some of the plants themselves. There are a series of different flowers budding. You don't see a lot of berry bushes, at least within this vicinity, but there are a handful of, like, let's say, we'll say like some sunflowers kind of growing off of a building, section of a building, maybe like two buildings over behind. That is very true.
Everything's eatable. Even
Everything is edible.
I are eatable.
Willy Wonka.
So I guess Orn's gonna
Some only one.
go pick some stuff that thinks, like some flowers and some things that he thinks are eatable.
Okay. So you forage a few different types of flowers and maybe some, I wouldn't say weeds, but some more root looking plants, some vines. You kind of gather them up in almost like this large, abundant bouquet.
Yay! Does the group run back into me? Am I still outside chilling?
Well, the three of them are well, did you return before they come back out? Did you like go back to the front of the building, or are you just kind of like waiting around in the alleyways?
I'm just like waiting around in the alley.
Okay, so the three of you kind of like walk out. You don't see Orn in your immediate vicinity. Well, Orn. Orn.
Oh, listen.
You immediately Zilri's trying to like do like a soft yelling, and you immediately hear Orn start screeching from behind the building. Okay, we found her. Let's quickly get her before we get in trouble.
Cough! Cough!
And then Orn like shoves out what it's got for him. Snacks!
Oh, good, more vegetables. Thanks, Orn. Zuri just takes some of them. Doxia's like, she kind of like picks a couple. It's like, I think these ones might be tasty. She starts chewing on them. They're okay.
And I end my turn.
Fool! You activated my trap card. I play Pot of Greed. Pot of Greed allows me to draw two cards.
More cards.
Yet another reference that flies over Chris's head.
I have no idea.
That's
Magic?
Okay.
Close. Yu-Gi-Oh.
Magic for babies. Yu-Gi-Oh!
Don't talk trash about Yu-Gi-Oh like that.
Oh god, we're going in.
Call it as I seize it, okay?
This has become a talking trash on Yu-Gi-Oh stream now. D&D is over.
Jeez.
I like Yu-Gi-Oh.
Duel.
It's time to die. Moving on. Zilrika at this point kind of like gestures to the three of you. She's like, okay,
Hashtag content.
we should probably go. Let's just start walking and see what we find. I'm kind of suggest going down the hunter's procession. Zoril and Azazel, what do you two do? Do you continue elsewhere to go find these merchants that Merlet had mentioned, or do you wait for the others to kind of rejoin you, or go try and find the others?
We have two courses, it seems. That we must find these collectors, even if they don't have information on the creatures that we are seeking. That seems to lie to the east, but so do they. These collectors, they do not seem good to me. Keeping animals in cages, it's not right. But perhaps we want the others to help us, at least when we track the beast's path to the east.
We would definitely want them. What I think we might want to do, just because we don't know how long those merchants are still going to be here, I think it would be prudent for us to head east, encounter those folks, and maybe start asking some questions as soon as we can. What I could do is I could send good old Pepper. I could just send him to fly over the town and maybe draw the attention of our friends and sort of lead them back to us.
Yes, I think that would be wise.
And I'll relay that plan to Pepper.
Understood. I'll be back as soon as possible. Pepper kind of takes off back westward through the town.
He's a good cop.
These eastern fields, there seems to be much more activity with these creatures. That may be where our path leads, and perhaps the source of them.
I agree. I do agree. Do I know general topography? What is in the east of Boamar, besides, like, past the fields?
Well, from this point,
east of here, mostly northeast and spreading across a good chunk of the province, are the Thurkona Timberlands, a massive forest that kind of is just on the outskirts of Boamar and goes all the way up eastward to the Scarlet Mountains on the other side of the province. Beyond that, as you get a little bit more eastern and then southeastern, you have the Tournai open fields, which is pretty much the entire region itself of just unclaimed land. So when you gather, when they say eastern fields, they really mean just like out in the Tournai open fields. They just call it like the eastern fields of their town.
Got it. Okay.
Turn town. All right.
Pepper kind of like the rest of you see like Pepper kind of like dodge like what looks like a hawk or an eagle kind of like meeting. They kind of like flap and flutter a little bit, and then Pepper comes flying down and lands on Zoe's shoulder. Woo! Oh, hey, little guy. It's like, I guess, is Azazel looking for us? Pepper kind of like oddly
over and is so excited and reaches out.
As you reach out, Pepper's head just immediately swivels, looks at you, whoo, and just takes off. And then kind of like flutters just in front of the group, kind of like ushering you to follow him.
Orin books it.
The three of you kind of
hoping for that.
all right, let's go. The three of you start running. Zoe starts running after Orin.
The carrot, not the stick.
Wait up! Wait up!
We are not. This is like a library town, and this ain't the right group. So silly. Oh my god.
More or less, yes. But eventually, you do hear. You see Pepper eventually kind of like fluttering from down the street, and you immediately hear Orn and company just like rushing behind.
Well.
And people are kind of just staring at them as they pass by.
I should have figured that would have been the result. That one's on me.
Again.
What do you mean again?
Pepper did their job. The others are here now.
Just like the drinks at the bar, Azazel. On you.
Oh.
Pepper eventually just lands in your shoulder. I found them. And here they come. There are a few people that kind of are taken aback by seeing, obviously, people running through the streets in a bit of a noisy fashion, but more so because a large minotaur is literally rushing through the streets. A couple of like what looks like a few of the hunters kind of like immediately, almost as if brace, as if they're going to get attacked, and the minotaur just runs by them, and they're just like, some of them start slowly following behind just to figure out what the fuck's going on.
It's the Frosty the Snowman parade. Everyone just joins in.
If he's running, what's on the others?
What's he running from?
What's he running from?
Must go faster.
Eventually, the four of them do catch up to you, the two of you standing there. Man, I didn't really want it to. Did not want to run through the streets.
Yeah,
But
I didn't expect it to go that fast. You guys really bring a new level of peace and quiet to Boamar.
I mean, you sent your little buddy to come get us, and I mean, it's just like dangling food in front of Orn.
Yeah, I forgot that Orin likes to get loud with food.
Anyway, we're all here now. Zazel and I found the people who are buying the lizard folks' fish and other animals lie to the eastern part of the town. There's also news of strange beasts in the fields outside of the eastern part of town. I do not know if these collectors have anything to do with the strange beasts, but I feel that we must pay them a visit nonetheless.
So what are we waiting for? Let's go talk them.
Yeah, let's. Making our way eastbound. Walking fast.
Orin is fast.
Bruh.
As the hunters follow you.
Oh, hello.
Oh shit.
Oh, look,
there
there's an
are a couple of hunters that have been keeping a distance, but kind of like keeping an eye on you guys as you proceed eastward through the hunter's procession.
Now they wonder.
Who the fuck are all these guys?
They got a bull and a lizard too.
Why is that? Trovik think he's an orc. Oh, we just don't know.
Bruh.
Terrible.
We'll now be
We're
announcing
not
our
getting
new show, Musical Mondays, where we all just sing.
Hashtag content.
Hashtag content.
Alright.
All right.
East.
The group of you continue eastward, and before you come across what seems to be the match to what Mertlet described, Zoril, in like with your passive perception, you do get this instance as if this one instance that you are being watched, but not by the people themselves, and you kind of look over to one of the alleyways, and you see like a series of different trees growing, like birch trees, and you almost for a second feel like you see a face kind of just within the tree itself, and you blink and then it's gone. But you continue on, and you eventually come across, and you can see it plain as day, a series of large cages filled with assortment of different wild animals. Wolves, coyotes, a bear or two, some deer, what looks like a giant elk, kind of just resting in one of these large, massive cages. What else? Some smaller animals like weasels, a couple of badgers, like an assortment of different wild animals that you see. And you see 3 human males, darker skinned, kind of wearing, they definitely don't fit in with the rest of the attire based on the town itself. They're almost wearing like, what would I call it, like long robes, long like different colored robes. One's wearing like a burgundy, another one's wearing like almost like a navy blue, and another one's wearing like almost like a beige. And they have like these large, I would say not necessarily turbans, but like wrapped up, like most of their head is literally wrapped up enough that you can only see their face, you can't see any hair or anything else, and they're kind of just talking amongst themselves in front of these large cages.
Excuse me there, gentlemen.
Yeah, yes. What can we
Hello
do
there,
for
my
you?
name- my name's Azazel Starflower. I'm an Enquêteur here in this area. I've been assigned to take care of some particularly nasty business with unusual creatures. I know you're here on the eastern side of town. Did you come from the east, or where do you hail from?
The one you kind of like, and you're addressing all 3 of them, but like the one that's kind of like closest to you looks at the other 2, kind of just like, oh, we come from a little bit of all over. We're here, officer, just hiring some of the local hunters to get us a few beasts to bring back, well, to some of the other
vendors who are seeking them. So we're kind of the middleman, so to speak.
Sniffs around
Yeah.
while they're talking.
Trovik is not liking seeing beasts in cage.
So you are, just to clarify, you are people from all over, traveling all over, to give beasts to people to all over from here.
Right, this is our current stop. We've been here for about a week or two now, right? So yes. And we've heard that there are some wild game that is not found on the other parts of the country and even the continent. So this is our stop here, and we have some clients who are interested in some of the rarer animals, and he kind of gestures to the cages, and are paying us quite well. But we ourselves are not hunters, and this is a hunting town, so we hired the hunters to hunt for us.
Of any of those hunting groups that you hired, were there any that you sent out into the eastern fields that maybe encountered a few nasty creatures, maybe some injuries?
Quite possibly. They are familiar with this territory more than we are. We've just been here to make it easier at the eastern exit, to kind of like catch face with them when they leave and when they return. Kind of like shorten that gap. I'm sure I've heard of the rumors of these nasty little creatures, big and small, that have been plaguing the countryside. I'm not privy to them, I've only heard word. The hunters are a little bit more skillful, so I hope they are doing well. It's what we're paying them to do.
So, to be blunt, and I'm looking for a one-word answer, preferably for this one.
Okay.
None of the groups you hired encountered any fatalities while out and about?
Not that I recall. I've hired many groups of hunters, because we are acquiring a large stock, so I've kept track of who I need to pay, but not so much what they do after we pay them. So I can't say whether or not they've been hurt. I can only assume that they've come back alive, at least. Scrapes and bruises and scratches and burns are kind of typical with these people.
I'm going to get Orn to make a perception check, because you said you were sniffing about.
Sniffing about.
Yeah, and
That was more than one word.
I definitely. What are these cages made out of?
Most of them are made out of like general steel.
Ugh.
Like a mixture, mostly steel, but there are some like wooden components to them. Especially, but the ones with like the larger animals, like the giant elk, which is twice your size essentially, and the grizzly bear, are all like fully steel in order to keep them contained.
While Azazel's having the conversation with the man, I'm gonna do just if I can, I'd like to do a ritual to speak with animals.
Sure.
And just like.
All right. So while you begin kind of like, as Azazel's kind of speaking with these three humans, and kind of drawing most of their attention, one of them is kind of like looking at the rest of you and kind of intrigued by Trovik a little bit, but is still listening in onto the conversation. But this main particular one is the one that's speaking. What did you roll, Orn?
A 6.
A 6.
A solid, hardcore 6, my dude. That's what's up.
Sniffing about, you get like a mixture of different animal scents, and most of them are coming from right in front of you with all the animals in cages.
Could I investigate more specifically?
Sure, you can. I would say you can definitely try, though. As you start approaching the cages, one of the other human vendors is kind of like, "Hey, leave the animals alone, would you mind? It's best not to stir them."
Intimidate him a little bit and be like,
Sure, make you screech at him. Make an intimidation check.
I would like to use my commanding presence to add a superiority dice I don't remember how this works. I just know I have it.
All right, let me take a quick look.
Appreciate it.
Quick.
Commanding presence.
So while you're looking that up, Trovik is going to start walking around the cages one by one.
Okay, so all it does is, Sarah, all it does is you can just roll one of your superiority dice and add that number to your, in this case, your intimidation roll.
What is it? A D6?
So roll.
A D4?
Blah blah blah
D6
blah.
or a D8, I don't remember.
It's a D8. So roll a D20. So roll a D20. Add the corresponding intimidation modifier to it, which I believe for you is
I got a 7.
-3.
I got a 7 on the D20 minus the 3 already.
Which is 4. So now roll a D8.
It was more. It ended at a 7 because it did the math for me.
Okay, so you
And
got
then
7.
now roll a D8.
And then roll a D8 and add that number.
Plus 4. 7 plus 4 is 11.
So you screech at this individual to get near one of the cages, and he kind of just looks at you and just like, and just kind of like screeches back at you. And the rest of them all kind of everybody just looks at each other. He just kind of like clears his breath. Just step away from the cages, please. So, while that's going down, Trovik, you're checking the other side of the cages, looking at all the animals individually. Is there something you're looking for? While, Trovik, while Zoro is doing his ritual?
Looking to see if and there's anything that Trovik could break with X.
I mean, if all of them have locks on them, and if you strike hard enough, I'm almost certain you could break it.
Okay.
If not in one swing, but in
my
multiple
boy.
swings.
There's my boy.
Yeah. Trovik is going to see if eyes are on Trovik.
One of the others is looking at you, kind of
Why
like.
does this Hazel look so entertained right now?
I am entertained.
DG is entertained. Azazel is horrified.
Kind of. I mean, I don't know if
Oh,
he knows
no.
what's going on.
He's not looking. He doesn't know what's happening just yet. There's
Okay.
another sleeve up. There's another trick up this lizard sleeve.
No, there's another sleeve up the tricks.
So while Trovik and Orn are kind of like casing these cages, the animals are starting to get a little bit restless, and they can see that they can feel the tension in the air, and some of them are kind of like growling and almost like panting a little bit.
I want to try to calm them down and say, this is okay. Trovik here to rescue.
I said get away from the cages, bullman.
Make an animal handling check for me. I'll say Zoro at this point, after like going back and forth and arguing between everybody, I'll say your speak with animals kind of like comes through. Your eyes kind of like lighten up a little bit. They go like this pallid green for a moment, and then go back to normal.
A 7.
7. You kind of go over to one of the cage with the
6.
bear.
It's the Orn curse.
You go over to the cage with the bear in it, and he's like, just starts growling at you because it sees you as a threat potentially. You're just this big menacing presence in his face, and it's just kind of like, but it doesn't look happy either, being in this position.
I will stroll to next thing not so big.
Zoro, what do you wanna say or do?
So just generally to like all of the animals, I will say, it is okay, my friends. You will be free soon. Are you well?
All the animals tend to like there's that moment where there's the tension disturbed, and they all kind of immediately, everybody notices, they all immediately perk their attention towards Zoro, who's kind of like speaking in weird, like whispers, gutturals, growls, barks, and odd sounds.
Sound
and
like a
everybody's-
Wookiee.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of sounds all together.
Yeah. And collectively you hear like chiming in from some of the animals. They have caged us. We are trapped. We wish to be free. They're going to sell us. Kind of like a mixture of they're all upset that they're caged and they want out.
Okay. Trovik is looking at Zorro, waiting.
What are you doing, Goliath?
Your animals, they are not, well, I misspoke. They're not your animals. These animals that you have taken from their homes and put into these cages will be free. What you have done here is wrong.
Is it really wrong? Because last I checked, we're in a hunting town and these people hunt animals. We are merely doing the same thing.
No. The people hunt animals as animals hunt animals. To say that you are an animal is an insult to animals. You are wrong. Either you release these animals so that they may return to their homes in which you have stolen them from for your own greed and profit, or we will.
During that conversation, after hearing the first one kind of growl at Orn, I really look very hard at these guys' eyes and try to pick apart any other features on their face. Are these guys, like, human? Because they got real touchy about the you're not an animal thing.
DM knows some shit. DM knows some shit.
I'll give you the choice. You can either make an insight. It was just like, I don't know. I was kind of divided on what to choose, but you can either make an insight check or a perception check. Kind of like insight to read how the reactions are and gauge where they're going with this, or make a perception check to kind of look closely at them, at their features, their facial features, their details, any outstanding physical features and whatnot. Choice is yours.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, gee, Rick.
Oh, jeez. Oh, like Zoink Scoop.
Do an insight check.
Trovik is like, I know this one.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
I understood that reference.
Yes.
What'd you get?
6.
It's the sixth thing. That's 3 in a row, guys.
Boy, we have now summoned the Satan of D&D.
Let's see. Well, lucky for you,
Oh my
I rolled a 4.
Oh my god.
So you said insight, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So based on the fact that one snarled at Orn in a very like almost like in an aggressive, like, animalistic style, and then one started getting very like started bearing what surprisingly a handful of like sharp teeth. Like they have specifically like 2 incisors that look a little bit pointier than most humans, and it's kind of like almost like snarling under their breath at you. There's definitely you're hitting some nerves very easily with these individuals, and there's almost, though they are human, they're kind of giving off these territorial, like almost like a wolf, almost like wolves or dogs or anything like of that manner, where they're like, they seem territorial and they're just like standing their ground kind of thing.
Okay. Azazel's gonna start taking out his little notepad, starting to flip it open, and while he's doing this thing, sorry about that, you'll have to excuse my associates. They're not too keen on animals in cages. It's not really something they enjoy looking at. I don't really either, but I am here to carry out the law, and I'm trying to pin down any sort of connection, frankly, between you lot here capturing animals and the sort of disturbances in nature we've been noticing in the eastern field. Maybe overhunting, over picking of the land is sort of angering some sort of nature spirit. Could be something of that sort. I do know that there have been lizard folk here trading me a fish. I'm assuming this is feed for the animals you've been capturing.
No, we've been collecting the fish from the lizards. We hired them like we hired these hunters to catch animals for us.
I am well aware. You don't gotta raise your voice at me. I'm just asking questions. That's all I'm doing. So, the fish that you've been collecting, is that food for the animals you've been capturing, or is that sort of a,
No, we've been hired to collect fish, different sea creatures. Some vendors, for whatever reason, want fish. Snakes, sharks, dolphins. Don't know why, don't care why. We just get them for them. They pay for it.
Fish!
We are not hunters. We are just humans. We are just people. We are merchants. We don't do this. We are not skilled at this kind of stuff, so we get the people to do it for us.
Yeah, I'm well aware.
And your
of the rich
friends
people.
here are disturbing the animals we are rightfully allowed to catch. By the way, the other people here, that centaur woman doesn't seem to have a problem with us doing the business that we are doing here.
I don't have a problem with the business. I was just making sure I got all the facts right. Just making sure that everything checks out with the nature. Just making sure there's, there's an imbalance going on. So, what I'm going to need from you is I'm going to just need your names, just to run it by some people to make sure that wherever else you've been has been going smoothly. I'm going to need a few other places you've been to. And just for prosperity's sake, I'm going to just need to have a quick sketch of your faces, just to make sure that we're well aware of your appearances and what we can expect to look for in future business endeavors.
Make a I would say make a persuasion check for me. You do have advantage, I believe. Yeah.
I do.
Oh, because you've been touched by the Zorro.
If I use my inspiration, would I just roll an additional d20?
You roll additional d20, take the higher number. Or the lower number if you really want.
Is that
Those two were pretty bad.
Boy,
they were all single digit. 9.
9.
you had hoped to pay $2 to give him another chance at a reroll.
I rolled a 9, a 1, and a 2. So,
Right? Tip now!
Damn.
Tap now to change the course of this.
This is good.
I'm gonna say with that, he's like, you can do whatever you want. I'm done talking to you. I'm going to keep to my business. So if you would like to be on your way. You want to sketch my face? Do it from away from me.
While it may be your business, unfortunately, it's been causing a scene in this very quaint, quiet town. So it's officially not just your business.
And the three of them kind of look around, and there are a couple of eyes watching, like other vendors, a couple of hunters, and actually, you may not have noticed before, but you do see like one or two couturiers kind of like roaming and just keeping an eye on things. Though they are not as prevalent here, but there are still some. It's a goddamn arms race.
It's a girl.
Yeah.
So they're just like, I don't care what they think. I've hired half of these people to work for me, and I've paid them well for their time. You want questions? Talk to people who are willing to give you answers. Now get out of my sight.
Orn would like to slip into the shadows and
Slip into the shadows.
and hide amongst their shit without them seeing it.
Okay, make a stealth check for me.
Oh yeah, I'm good at this. I'm a slippery little lizard. Here we go. Stealth check. I got a 20. Unnaturally.
Would be... Yeah, they... In the heated moment of conversation and having all these eyes, they don't seem to care so much of all these other people now watching this argument as it escalates, so to speak. At least with raised voices. They don't seem to notice or immediately kind of slip behind some of the cages and kind of hide in one of the underbrushes that kind of is next to what seems to be like a small group of like badgers in a smaller cage. And Orn, you're kind of just like hiding in the bush kind of next to these cages and just you're hidden away at this point. No one seems to have noticed.
Trovik is going to take one last look at Zorro. And what would Trovik be seeing on Zorro's face? I bet it's not a smile.
It's not a smile.
Okay.
No, I just catch Trovik's eye. See that he's sort of like prepped to swing away at these cages and stuff.
Give me. I'm whispering like, give me go.
And just like you see him take off his bear claw shield from his back and just nod.
Fuck it. It is go time. I am going to rage. Engage the rage.
Okay.
Oh, barbaric rage.
Oh, we're doing this. Okay.
All of you here, like, it's again, aside from the louder voices of this conversation, most of it is still fairly quiet in town until Trovik just lets out a yell, scream.
Oh, yep, I got that now.
And a lot more heads begin to turn and look in this general direction. Do you still want me to roll for your...
Yes, please.
Okay.
I just feel like Zilri would have done something.
What would that be? I was debating, I'm like, okay, what would Zilri do in this situation? She might intervene somehow, but I wasn't sure right away.
Turned into a flower picker in the background.
right. Runs away.
Thinking
turns
of our
into
very
somebody else.
first interaction like this, and she didn't really do much of anything.
WWD.
He doesn't like to draw attention on the battlefield.
WWXD.
Yeah, that one.
Okay, so Trovik, as your bovine screech let loose, you see this multicolored series of lights kind of like surround you in a protective aura. So you gain a +1 to your AC, and within 10 feet of you, your allies gain the same bonus. Ooh. So technically everybody gets +1 to their AC while they're within 10 feet of Trovik, as this shimmering multicolored light kind of like emanates around him.
Nice. Okay. Although, this will not do so bad. Whack on the closest lock. I don't care which one.
I'm gonna say for ease, after a couple of strikes, these three individuals, they're yelling and freaking out on you guys, but they don't physically interpose themselves with you. They don't want to get struck or whatnot, but they are pissed. You go around just hacking at all the cages and the locks, breaking them open, and you see the animals slowly starting to emerge and skitter and scatter away into all manner of direction.
All right.
As they are like leaving their cages, I'll say, "You are free, my friends. Go in peace. Find your homes again."
A few of them kind of like howl or bark or roar. "Thank you for freedom, wise one." You do see like a pack of 3 wolves kind of start rushing westward into the hunter's procession and kind of like run through the town. And some of the people are like, "Hey!" and start not necessarily freaking out, but they're not necessarily hurting them. They're just kind of like, some of them do start chasing after the wolves. The deer and the elk immediately go eastward towards past the other second large oak tree that you see at the end of the town, and into the grassy patches. The bear kind of like knocks over one of the cage, roars, kind of looks at one of the humans, and looks like it's gonna take a swipe, but misses as they both as two of them kind of like duck to the ground and kind of like scurry away out of reach. The bear looks at you, Trovic, kind of like almost like an acknowledgement, and then quickly runs off into like the wild.
I've made a friend.
And
Was that
all
one of
the
your
other-
relatives, Zorl?
But there are maybe about 4 or 5 crates filled with water, and you do see like sea creatures. Like you do see like the serpentines, like almost like the water snake kind of still swimming about within. You see like a couple of crabs and fish and whatnot. Those ones you could break the boxes, but then they'll all scatter about and probably die without being submerged in water.
Kind of like Trovic goes up to like smash that with his wood. No, not this one. They'll die.
Oh, okay.
From the bush, Orin throws its half a fish at the feet of the 3 humans.
The one that was talking gets up and like you'll regret this. I guarantee it. And kind of like you can see now, this man is kind of like baring his teeth, but this time they look more canine, and you can see a lot more sharper teeth, and you can see like his eyes kind of flicker for a moment, and they almost go like from this deep brown that he had to like start to fade into like a yellow and then go back, and he's, you'll regret this, I guarantee it. And they run off down the street.
Well, looks like neither of us are getting our job done today, are we?
Good job!
It was not ideal.
And Trovic, if you're looking at Zorl.
Oh yeah, I don't get the smile.
He is smiling now. And just gives you a nod.
A handful of people start kind of like approaching the scene, like a couple of vendors, a couple of what looks like some of the hunters. The 2 couturiers start making their way over, and Zora just kind of looks at us like, well, it was at some point we were gonna make ourselves a mess.
Yep.
And
Deja vu.
and that's where we're gonna end it for today.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh no.
What a session, man.
No
Funny how life
animals
works.
were
Go
harmed
round
in
and
the
round
filming
and
of this session.
back to the beginning we are.
And we will see what happens next session. You guys have definitely come into town and not only made yourself aware, but now you've really made yourself aware that you're here.
Yeah, we tend to make impressions.
Those
Yeah.
people
Clearly.
seem like they might be a little aware.
Haha.
Oh, dog boy.
Oh, where?
But we'll have to see what happens and the possible consequences that may follow. Who knows?
Indeed.
Consequences.
But next time, unfortunately, I know, Sarah, you won't be here for the next session. But we will have Kayla back, so, I mean, trade? It's nice,
Literally,
but
I
not
put
nice.
my hands.
It's doing one of these. It's still... We get Kayla back, but Sarah's gone.
I'm pretty sure I'll have a worse microphone next time too.
It's like the Frog.
no.
It's like the
Oh, that's not
because I
good.
won't be here.
It's-
I'll be in my
All
apartment.
right.
like the Frogurt episode of The Simpsons, when he's like, but the yogurt is cursed. Oh, but the yogurt comes with free toppings. Woohoo! But the toppings are also cursed. Oh.
So we'll see how things happen the next session. What the gang will do. I don't know. I mean, everybody's been saying it's like this has pretty much been the Guardians of the Galaxy at play here. But, so we'll see what happens with the Guardians of Talantis.
Yes! Guardians
It's the
of
scene where we're all
Talantis!
arrested.
I'm Groot.
We'll have to wait and see. But thank you everybody for coming out who came out to witness the next leg of the adventure, and we'll see what happens next time.
Yes. And
And,
take us out,
yeah.
Matthew.
And happy time.
And always remember, be good to each other, be awesome, and beat hate with love.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone.
And stick around, folks, because we're going to try to raid a channel. Bye!